Welcome to the Own It Powercast, the place to be when you get serious about making big changes and accelerating growth in your life and in your relationships. Finally create the life you've always wanted, living life on your own terms. Learn how to take your fear and turn it into powerful choices that will create sustained change. Now your host, Mary Baker.
So welcome back to Own It Powercast, a place where you can come to get what you need to move yourself forward. And as you know, my name is Mary Baker, and I'm here to give you the education, the tools, and the motivation to identify exactly what's in your way today and what you can do about it. Because remember, empowerment comes from doing. That means truly identifying what's really going on, what's really causing the issues, and the positive changes you need to make to increase your self-confidence and take charge of your life. So in each episode, we'll be talking about the building blocks to empowerment, because I think they all matter. And I really believe you can fix this. Because I know this, each month I'll talk to you about the necessary pieces you will need to put together or tweak. And because some of these are some very heavy pieces, I usually focus on about one per month. So before we get down into taking responsibility for what you need, just a few quick things. Again, I just want to thank all of you for the wonderful feedback I keep getting around how helpful these episodes have been. And I want to encourage, if you have any questions or any concerns or any thoughts you want to share, please go over to ownitpowercast.com and shoot me an email, find me on social. Let me know how this is going for you, and if you need any assistance. I really want to hear how you're doing. The other thing I want to say is I'm really excited. We're getting more members on our Facebook group. It's going to be a great place to come and get encouragement and support and some loving accountability, and just a place to hang out and let us know how you're doing. Go over to the show notes for this podcast at ownitpowercast.com. And the link is right there for you to join in the group. And I'm really looking forward to what this group is going to provide. Okay, so today I want to dig down a bit deeper about actually taking responsibility for what you need, aka your self-care. At the end of the day, you will find out, if you haven't already, that it all starts and it ends with you and how grounded you feel. And I believe that if you're not taking charge of your self-care every day, every week, it's going to be really hard to take care of what you need. And it's going to be hard to get needs met. We've been talking all month about how we may disown what we need and how it can be a challenge to finally take responsibility, or maybe even just to get back on that horse you fell off a little while ago, because that can happen too. Now, if you're just joining us in the conversation about needs, I really encourage you to go back and listen to those episodes in the beginning of the month first, so that you can come back and get in the groove with us. So first, I just want to take a few moments and define what self-care can look like. Now, it's a lot of different things, and your self-care will be unique to you, so there's no right or wrong around this stuff. But I just want to clarify. Self-care is not just a spa day. It means meeting all of our needs in a balanced way. In other words, so that we're not, reneging on responsibilities in our life, and other areas of our life are not suffering by practicing self-care. In fact, I would argue that's a part of it. One of the obvious ones is rest. And that can be getting enough sleep at night. But it can also mean just some rest where you're not working, you're not doing, you're not thinking. There's play. Play, again, like I've been talking about, means there's no purpose and there's no work involved. And you can just goof off, have fun, enjoy, be in the moment, be silly. If you have kids, it's perfect because no one's going to look at you funny. And play is what play is to you. You get to decide what that looks like. Another item of self-care is taking time to plan. Stephen Covey, in his famous book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, for those of you who aren't familiar, he has 4 quadrants. And if we're not taking time to be in quadrant 2, where we plan and we take a look out on the horizon and how is my life going and what would I like to change and what do I need in order to do that, then we're often stuck in either quadrant one, putting out fire after fire, reacting to crises in our lives, or just sitting there with the remote with a glazed over look at the TV because we need to catch up from fighting fires. So check that book out if you haven't. I think it's a timeless resource. And he's really big about, it's not so much time management, but self-management. And self-management in my book is self-care. The other one is taking time to get chores done, to actually take care of business, to take care of our environments, to get things done, to take care of our life. Connection is another big one. That's why I provided the Facebook group. There's a place immediately for you guys to go and stay connected. But of course, connection with others in your life, even if you're so busy, it's just texting your best friend. That's fine. Staying connected to others helps us feel alive, gives us hope, helps us feel loved and encouraged and supported, and it helps us grow. And speaking of growing, personal growth and setting aside time and energy to do that. And, are you learning? What are you working on? And if you've identified some things you're working on, what are you doing about that? How is that showing up in your life at least once a week so that you're living out that value? There's spiritual self-care, whatever you want that to be. How do you practice that? Are you devoting some time for like prayer and meditation or just some meditation or whatever you want to do around that? Then, of course, your physical and your medical health. Are you doing the footwork to take care of that? How is your activity level? How's your nutrition? How's your medical health? What are you doing around that? And then finally, your environments. And we talked about this in one of the other episodes. That could be your physical environment. What does your house look like, or your apartment, or your workplace? Is it peaceful? Is it where you want to be? Does it reflect who you are? Or again, if you're an outdoor person, are you able to get out? So where is your self-care around that? Clients tell me all the time that the moments that they can grab to maybe get away and go for a hike or go for a walk or be at the beach or whatever that may be for them, that it just fills them up. Notice where you feel peaceful and calm and joyous. So again, I'm just glancing over these categories, but I think by now you have a sense of what self-care is. And as we go through this episode today, you will see that I'm just scratching the surface. It's up to you to take this and run with that. Now, of course, we can't talk about needs without talking about boundaries with others. And for the next 2 months, starting next month, we're going to get all down into that. So don't worry about knowing all about boundaries right now. If you don't, we're going to get into it. And along with that, and this is what can really mess up self-care, are avoidance issues. Avoidance of conflict, avoidance of setting boundaries and being assertive. But self-care is all about not putting anything on other people, even if I struggle with avoidance, even if my boundaries are messed up. It's my responsibility to take care of that. So as you can see, outsourcing and blaming is not self-care. I know we all know that intellectually, but really, sometimes we need to sit with that and say, what am I doing? Am I really owning how I take care of myself? So again, self-care has a lot to do with discipline, discipline, discipline. It's about really beginning to listen to yourself, because doing that is so healing. By nurturing yourself in this way, by taking that nap, grabbing that quick vacation, taking that long drive, or whatever you feel you need, you are also healing wounds perhaps from long ago. Doing it in the moment today, doing it in the present, in the near future, you're deep down healing the idea that maybe you didn't deserve to have those needs, much less have them met. That is what is so cool. You're making it up to you. You might be healing the recent past, or even earlier today when you didn't take care of yourself. It's okay. I love it that every 5 minutes we get a new chance, and it's all okay. You'll begin to notice that you are feeling better the more you practice this self-care. There's a direct correlation. Oftentimes we don't recognize it until we stop doing it, till we get off course and we haven't worked out this week and we ate really crappy and we didn't connect with anyone because life was blowing up. And you're like, wow, I feel like crap. Well, in other words, I don't think the daily self-care, we may not notice right away how it's helping us, but boy, can we feel it when we stop doing it. So just remember that. Also, staying in scenarios where you cannot get needs met is crazy-making and essentially toxic. Those who work with me are probably sick of hearing me say that. I say that all the time. Environments are everything. And as you continue to grow, you're probably going to become so frustrated that you won't allow yourself to stay much longer anyway, which is a good thing. Like, did you ever go to a really nice hotel or someone's house or another spot where you felt so cared for, nurtured, and respected? Remember how wonderful that felt? Remember how you didn't have to beg, cajole, or fear you wouldn't be honored. It just was. It was just assumed that you deserved that, and it was given freely to you. I encourage my clients all the time to try to grab some moments in places and in relationships with people who really want to respect you. Because just by creating this contrast to your own life or maybe a situation in your life can be really eye-opening and show you what needs to change for you in your regular environments. I mean, you may not be able to pull the trigger, but creating that contrast is a huge piece. When I've worked with people in really abusive relationships over the years, and I got the sense they were just too afraid yet to pull the trigger and walk out of there because it was not going to be easy, that I would just work with them and create contrast. Help them find good things to put in their life on the side, and that would strengthen them. Because you're starting to see how it's really supposed to be. It's not supposed to be toxic. Yeah, there's stress in life, but it's not supposed to be that bad all the time. Okay, so let's talk practicality and ways that we can start working on taking responsibility for what we need. So the first thing is I want you to work on expressing your needs to yourself first. I know this may sound crazy, but it's not. Journaling, self-talk, talking in the car when no one's there. Talk to yourself, remind yourself, look in the mirror, do the mirror exercise about 5 minutes a day. Look at yourself in the mirror with love, with compassion, and affirm for you that you're not selfish, it's self-care. Remind yourself how selfish it can be for others in your life when you haven't taken care of yourself. Put yourself in the other shoes. I'm sure you've been there when someone in your life didn't take care of themselves. What was that like? Use I statements and be very vulnerable when you start talking to others about what you need. Say things affirmatively in a grounded, calm stance without minimizing or explaining away why you need this. You don't have to give a huge backstory. They don't need to hear that. We do that because we're afraid that we're not convincing enough. Be firm yet kind. Make sure your words and tone of voice match the need, i.e. firmly state no like you mean it. Gently ask someone to pick you up at the airport. You don't have to yell at them. And learn to let go if it's no. Remember that. Let go if it's no. You'll have to find another way to get needs met, right? You might have to find another way home from the airport. Own the need. Say it like you do. Remember, they have just as much right to honor themselves by saying no to your request as you do in asking. And every situation's different, of course. The next one is be as emotionally honest as you can be. This is so important. Keep drilling down until you know what it is. Like when you're mad, what do you really need? Is it really about what they did or didn't do? Or is it about the positive need, which is what you wished for or need instead? And it's on you to honor this need in the end. Remember before when I got into naming and validating what you need and what you need to do to take care of you? That's where it is. It's not about what others need to do or not do. Get to the vulnerable and the valuable need. I tell clients all the time, I'm sure you don't get out of the bed in the morning and make up ridiculous needs. We don't. The next one, which is so important, do the who owns what. The need may be yours to get met, like taking a nap, to exercise, or to meditate. Or you may need to get that need met from someone else. You may need their help with something. You may need to have them leave you alone, give you space. You may need a promotion, to return an item, etc. But the onus is always on you to ask for what you need. Others cannot read your mind. They did not take that course. Don't punish them for not knowing. The reason why we do that, as an aside, is we're secretly hoping that they will anticipate what we need and come up to us and say, hey, I know you need this and I want to give it to you, because we don't want to put ourselves out there and get rejected. That's why we do it. So we put that caca on other people, which is not okay. And this step is so useful for many situations. As we get into boundaries next month, we'll dive more into the concept of detachment. Okay. The next thing you want to think about is check it out first. If asking another person for something, check to make sure they're okay with meeting your need. And then again, take what they say at face value. It is not your issue if they say yes but mean no. That's their stuff. That isn't even your business. That's about them. Don't get up in their head. Don't make their stuff about you. This is also where you can work on negotiating in healthy ways, and I'm just going to briefly go over negotiating. And I want to say, what I've noticed over the years when I work with families and couples, it's a skill a lot of us really don't have, and everyone assumes that we already have it. But if you didn't grow up witnessing really healthy negotiating at the dinner table, and people didn't model it and show you how to do it and help you do it, forget it. You're not going to know. You're going to learn to say what you're cool with doing and what you're not, maybe even your why if you have to share that. Like I tell people to use the phrase, as long as, to let the other know what really matters to you. For example, if you're bargaining with someone about where to go to eat tonight, you could say, I'm fine with any place, as long as there isn't a really long wait since I'm starving. That way, you clearly define what matters to you and what you could give a crap about, and then the ball goes to the other person to first accept and honor what you said you really needed, but also hopefully do the same for themselves so that, the end result hopefully is a mutually beneficial situation. I mean, there might be some compromise, but it's not all what they want or all what you want. The next thing is all about taking responsibility. At all times, know that it is ultimately up to you to honor yourself. Again, we often want others to anticipate what we need, like we can often do for them. That's unfair, guys, and it's manipulative. Own what you need, that you need it, and take responsibility for taking care of you. Believe me, others will thank you later because you will be so much calmer, more grounded, and nicer to be around, and others will actually feel emotionally safer with you, believe it or not. I think that's because they're no longer worried about you behaving like a crazy person. Your congruence over time, like your insides really matching your outsides, will also be felt intuitively by others, even if they can't put a finger on it. Especially children, because they're very in tune with their senses. However, there's a caveat here. Some folks may not seem to be doing this at first, and they'll balk at your requests, okay? They're like, well, what are you talking about? Who are you? Everyone in the scenario is trying to adjust to the new reality that if things change, they all have to change. And here's what I mean by that. If people in the home start to honor meeting needs, then selfishness and self-absorption and victimhood ain't going to work anymore. Because we're talking about a whole new paradigm of relating to each other. Now we have to negotiate needs instead of acting them out. Enabling and rescuing people will no longer be the norm. And now, what stinks is you can't expect people to come rescue you either. So no more blurred boundaries. Each person gets to choose for themselves. Now imagine that. Because when it comes to choosing, as much as we say, quote unquote, we want more freedom to choose, we often forget that it comes with responsibility and emotional maturity. Okay. The next one is learn to detach in love. This is often so misunderstood. It means realizing that there are those folks in your life who simply cannot give you what you need. probably because they are not in a healthy enough place to do so. Or maybe they just don't want to. It means working towards acceptance, doing the grief work, and realizing you may need to find different folks to be a family for you, to be friends for you, a different workplace. It's about you making friends with reality here. When you think about it, many of our repeated arguments with people can be traced back to an unmet need that will continue to go unmet. For example, if you're often frustrated that your friend blows off commitments to you even after you've confronted her numerous times, it's about acceptance that she may lack the internal discipline to be someone you can count on to show up on time. For someone to even show up. It might be time to either accept this about her or just let her go. Stop beating her over the head because she can't give you what you need. Honor that you need to have trustworthy people in your life and detach from her with love. We get angry at them because we don't want to have to make an awful decision. Now I want to talk about honoring your fears. We need to talk about fear because we need to understand that for us to begin honoring our needs, this can entail putting ourselves out there and being vulnerable, and this can be very difficult. Often just the idea of asking for what we need can feel very overwhelming at first, simply because we may not even be accustomed to doing so, or our whole being may feel immobilized. If we had early traumatic events, this may be especially so. So if that's going on for you, be nice to yourself. Grab compassion. You're not crazy. You're not a weirdo. This is normal. Or maybe you just had experiences where you did ask for what you needed and it did not go well. You asked for something and you were let down. You were judged. You were ridiculed. You were ignored. Or maybe even just dismissed. Or worse, they said, yeah, sure, I absolutely do that for you. And it doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen. And it doesn't happen. The other thing to realize is that if we do not usually ask for what we need, we often surround ourselves with other people who, let's just say, are not willing to have us do so. They're used to that. They're used to us being so easygoing. Teaching assertiveness for years has taught me that we need to first learn to love who the hell we're bringing to the table before we'll ever feel strong enough to stand up for ourselves. Again, that is why healthy support around you when you're doing this stuff is so imperative. Doing groups over the years has taught me just how amazing it is when members validate each other. It's as if they're then given the green light, right, to change things in their life that they want to change. And I would just watch them so quickly jump through hoops and do what they need to do. It would take off 1,000 times faster in a group than it would be one-on-one. That's because I was only one person. I couldn't be the family around the table for them. So now that we've talked about some aspects of taking responsibility for what you need, I'm sure this might be, stirring some things up for you. So I want to take a few moments and do some more sentence endings to take a look at where you are in terms of some of your fears. For those of you who haven't done these yet, I give you a quick sentence stem, and then really quickly, without even thinking about it, I want you to write 4 to 6 very quick endings. Just write whatever comes up, no matter how crazy it sounds. Could be positive, negative, neutral, all of the above. Doesn't matter. It should be balanced. It's usually, reality is not all good or all bad. If you're walking or driving or what have you, just try to have some things come up in your heart and then do this later when you can sit down with pen to paper. Okay, ready? Number 1. If I really begin to acknowledge what I need, if I really begin to acknowledge what I need, Number 2. If I start to really express what I need, if I start to really express what I need, Number 3, if I admit it, I'm really afraid. If I admit it, I'm really afraid. And number 4, taking full responsibility for me means. Taking full responsibility for me means. Okay, so now look over your answers. What do you realize now about you that maybe perhaps you were not aware? You know, it said the key to creating great personal change is to start bringing the unconscious material into our conscious life so we can understand it, we can validate it, and then hopefully find a better way to live rather than just using our old coping skills. One of the things I think about a lot is the closer we get to what we really, really need, the closer we get to who we really are. And I think that is the essence of empowerment. So here are a few affirmations I'd like for you, if you can, to write them down and keep somewhere where you can read them several times a day for at least the next 30 days. This way, your subconscious mind is hearing and seeing some good, healthy truth over and over. I encourage you to put it on as a reminder on your phone so it pops up many times a day for you to look at. Even better, take them in the bathroom, close the door, look in the mirror, and say them to yourself. That's pretty powerful. I will have these as a download that you can sign up for to get in the show notes, or if you're already a tribe member, they'll be in your weekly newsletter. So it's all good. All right, so I'm going to go through these a little quickly and know that you can just go grab the list there. If you can't write them all down here, that's okay. What I'd rather you do is just say them silently in your head right after I say them. Okay, you ready? It is good to take care of my needs, and I'm doing that every day. Self-care allows me to love myself and others better. I deserve to need what I need. Period. I can take good care of me, not perfectly, but well most days. I can ask for what I need and lovingly detach from others. I am letting go of fear around getting my needs met. I'm becoming more calm, centered, and loving. I'm learning to allow others to take good care of themselves too. Again, I hope you take time each day to affirm these things. New beliefs need to be installed or recalled because what you believe will drive your behavior. You will live out what you deep down think and believe, so we gotta go change that first. Wow, we got into a lot on this episode about where you can begin, and I mean begin, to take ownership of your needs. But my hope is that you'll continue to expand this concept into every area of your life, bit by bit, a little bit every day. I also encourage you to join our private Facebook group again so you have a safe place to do that. You know, sometimes just knowing that you have a family to back you up can feel empowering. I know it has done that for me over the years. I felt stronger, encouraged, and more lovingly held accountable, especially when I need a kick in the pants. If you feel you need more than that, and oftentimes we do, I'm also here to coach you through it. Just go to ownitpowercast.com and go to the coaching tab. There's different coaching options there. You can email me if you have any questions. We'll figure it out. So wow, we wrapped up this month about needs, and next month I'm really excited to get started on our 2-month journey into one of my favorite topics, boundaries. That's a big paradigm. Very, very important. So buckle up and get ready for some great work there. I want to thank each of you for joining us today. And I say us, not just me, because you're not alone. You got a lot of people listening to this and doing the work. It's so cool. So hopefully you walked away today with some great things that can help you get started taking even better care of you. Let me know how this is going. Shoot me an email. Thank you for letting me in and allowing me to walk this path with you. So remember, keep the focus on you, pay it forward, and see you next time.
We hope you took away some useful insights and tools you could begin using right away. If you did, please leave a positive review and share on your social media. Because could you imagine if everyone in your life really got it together? Remember, own it now, so you can really own it later.